Hi there. I am Faith Helma, and I am a creative guide and coach. Basically, I'm a theater artist, schooled in the art of empathy and world building, only I've decided to turn my powers towards awakening the creative urge in all human beings, or at least some of them. And if you are one of them, if you're someone who wants to feed that creative urge, if you feel it deep down and somewhere coming to life and you want to water it so it can grow into a mighty sunflower, welcome. You are already mighty. Your eyes are open to your own creative possibilities and you are hungry for change, and that is a huge, brave step. Now, I am going to share an exercise with you. I call this Imaginary Creative Project. We're going to come up with a creative project just for fun, and we're going to dream up how we might pursue it if we were going to make it happen. And we're going to take out any pressure or stress or critical mind shutdown by telling our subconscious mind that this is for pretend. It's not for real. We're not really going to do any of this. Now, don't tell your subconscious mind this, but between you and me, uh, we might trick ourselves into actually doing it in the real world. But yeah, we won't talk about that right now. So, for now, what I'd like you to do is take out some paper and a pen, close your eyes, and take a deep breath. I'm going to put on some contemplative music, and I want you to just relax, get cozy, take some more deep breaths, and think about what you want more of in your life. What are you craving? What fascinates you? What are you wishing for? Ask these questions, but don't try and answer them. Just sit with them and let your hand start to draw on the paper in front of you. Don't open your eyes. Just draw whatever your hand feels like drawing as you ask yourself these questions. What am I craving? What fascinates me? What am I wishing for? What do I want more of in my life? Now, if any words come to you, you can jot those down too, along with whatever you're drawing. They don't have to make sense. You don't have to understand them. Just let your hand draw and write whatever it wants. Now, I'm going to let you do that for the next 30 seconds or so. If you want to spend more time doing this, I totally encourage you to do that. You can just pause this video and draw and write until you feel like you've come to an ending point. And then you can restart the video. So, okay, let's say you're done. Go ahead and open your eyes and look at what you drew and wrote. Now, if you're like me, it's probably a ridiculous, inscrutable diagram. Just for fun, let's look at it and see what patterns emerge. It might take a while to see any kind of, just see, look at it. What does it say to you? Is there a project that emerges from it? I'm going to show you what I came up with. We'll go ahead and turn off our music. So here is, can you see that? Yeah, here's my, what my subconscious mind put out into the world. It's kind of hard to read these words. It's basically a lot of circles, a lot of sort of um, waves and figure eights, and I can make out the words magic, carpet, water, connection, elephants, sleep, activity, fruit, and Beyonce. Now, that doesn't immediately say to me what a project might be. So I'm just going to sit with that for a second and look at it. And that's what I'd like you to do with whatever you drew and wrote. Just look at it. Look at it and see what connections emerge. And just think of how they might come into a project, how they might come together to make a project. Now, I'm going to share with you 4 things that I consider when I'm trying to make something into a project. 4 things that take it out of the ether of my imagination and root it in the real world. So those 4 things are: give it a name, make space and time for practicing it, find a way to share it with people, and set up some deadlines. So in my case, if I was going to kind of go through those 4 steps with this stuff, well, I guess I'm seeing a pattern. What I see when I look at all these things, one of the things I would like to be doing is, sleeping more, but also remembering my dreams and sort of letting myself kind of be in that sort of magic zone a little more. So one idea for turning this into a project might be to call it a dream recording project. So let's look at, I'm just going to call it that, the dream recording project. And you can just come up with a name that sounds interesting to you. And now, how would I make space and time for practicing that project? And how could I include some elements from this in it? Well, I could keep a notebook by my bed, and every morning I could jot down impressions of dreams. This is, in my case, difficult because I have a 3-year-old who wakes up early, and there's not a lot of time. So, but I could, if I had a notebook there, and if I could just while he's kind of antsy and getting up, I could just jot down whatever I can jot down in that moment. And then maybe I could schedule in twice a week or so. I could schedule in some time to look over whatever I've jotted down and then do some free writing to try to recall more or parse out, what I think it might mean. I could eat fruit while I do that. I wrote down fruit. Maybe some sparkling water. I could do things to make it special, to make this feel like a very restful, connected time. So see how I'm starting to get really practical here? We take these amphibious desires and we start finding ways to anchor them, to practice them in our daily lives. So yeah, for me that means I'm going to schedule time twice a week for 15 minutes after I drop my son off at school and before I start working. I'm going to make sure I have fruit and sparkling water with me, and I'm going to sit down to do some magical dream writing. For you, this could look, and it could be any amount of time. Maybe you want it to be 2 hours. Maybe you want it to be 5 minutes. There's no, just whatever comes to you. This is an imaginary project. I want you to assure yourself right now, we're just doing this for fun to see what it might look like. So, 3, find a way to share it with people. All this means is giving yourself a way to talk about it. And, finding a way to get it out of just your head and into, the world where you're talking about it, sharing it. It could be as simple as just telling people what you're doing. I could say, hey, when I meet a new person and we start talking about what do you do, I could say, I'm doing a project right now to write down my dreams every morning. And I could ask them what they've been dreaming about, if they remember their dreams. That could be a very simple way to just start sharing it with people. I could get big with it. I could get on social media and say, every day I'm going to post on Facebook, hashtag Dream Fruit Project. Here's what I dreamed today. I could throw a party every month and invite people and say, this is a dream party. It's a party to talk about our dreams. Those are just off the top of my head. But for you, just think of some fun ways that you could share it with people that, they can scare you a little bit, but don't fill you with dread. That's what you're going for there. And then 4, set up deadlines. So part of me always balks at doing this. I don't, and especially with as this little project I've just dreamed up, I'm like, oh, deadlines. I don't want to eat deadlines. I just want this to be fun. But all it means here is you're setting up ways to make it easy for you to do this in the real world. Setting up ways to either link it to other things that are already happening, to link it to other structures or systems, ways to make it, to take it out of your head and out of, being up to you and you alone to do this. So in my case, a deadline that would be really simple and easy would be once a week when I'm doing my grocery shopping, just make sure that I'm buying enough fruit and sparkling water for the week. That's a tangible thing I can do to make sure, and then that's an incentive, because if I have all this fruit lying around, I'm going to want to make sure I use it so it doesn't go bad. That helps anchor it in my mind as a thing I'm doing regularly. But there's all kinds of, I could decide I'm going to make the, you can make it bigger. You can, if it's a creative project, like I want to write a book, you could say I'm going to sign up for National Novel Writing Month. You could do all kinds of things. So great. I hope you've been going along these steps and doing this for you, coming up with a name for your project, thinking up some ways you could practice it in your daily life, finding ways to start talking about it, sharing it with people, and seeing if there's some simple deadlines and actions you can set up for yourself. And remember, this is all imaginary. It's just for fun. You are under no obligation to do any of this, but here's the sneaky part. Now that you've got this project in mind, and you've got some ways to make it easy to do, why not give it a shot? I gotta tell you honestly, I had no intention before I started making this video of doing a dream writing project, but now that I've gone through those steps, and I think, well, why not? Why don't I try that? Because I've built it into my life in a way that seems fun, and now that my subconscious is kind of on board with that, I'm thinking, sure, why not try it? So I put that challenge out to you. Why not try it? Try it for a week. Approach it like a game. See what it does for you. See what changes. And, if you'd like to go deeper with this, if you'd like more direct help with turning your wild ideas and your deepest desires into projects that you can do, you can always contact me to do a one-on-one session. I love doing things like this. But I'm also leading a Creative Magic workout that starts on April 3rd. So if you want to go deeper, the very first week, what we do is we come up with creative projects that we'll be focusing on over the 6 weeks. So if that sounds good to you, you can sign up here, or you can go to my website, faithhelma.com, and all the information is there. Fantastic. Good luck to you. Either way, I want to hear how your creative project goes, whether it stays in your imagination or floats out into the real world. All right, happy dreaming.